Somewhere in Raleigh right now, there's a renewal notice sitting on a kitchen counter. Nobody's opened it yet. And I bet money that the person walking past it every day isn't telling themselves, I'm scared. They're telling themselves, I'm just waiting for rates to come down a little more. And look, I used to take that at face value. I do not anymore. Because when I actually sit down with that same person 3 months later, there's rarely a number they were waiting for. There's just another lease. Welcome to episode 254 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast. I'm Kevin Martini, a certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager, NMLS 143962, with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation, NMLS 3446, equal housing lender. Now, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not legal or tax advice. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump in. Now, if you got a lease renewal sitting somewhere right now, unsigned, undecided, I already know roughly where your head is at. You're not against buying a home. You've thought about it probably more than once. You maybe have run a mortgage calculator at midnight, closed the tab, and said to yourself, you're going to go revisit it when things settle down. And here's what I want you to hold on to for the next few minutes, because I'm going to come back to it. I've got a client in Cary who renewed her lease 4 years in a row. 4. Each year, she was positive she wasn't ready. And I'm going to tell you exactly what changed the year she finally moved. It was not the 5th renewal notice showing up. It was one specific week. Hold on to that for a second. Because here's the thing about waiting for rates, or waiting for prices, or waiting for the market to make sense. It sounds 100% responsible. It sounds like patience. Nobody signs a lease and says, I'm avoiding a decision. They say, I'm being smart about timing. And honestly, I don't blame anyone for landing there. It's the version of the story that lets you feel disciplined instead of stuck. Waiting for a lower mortgage rate, waiting for prices to soften, waiting until things feel less uncertain. All of it sounds like strategy. But here's where I think it gets complicated. A strategy has a number attached to it, a real one written down somewhere, or at least clear enough that you could say it out loud. If the rate hits this, I'll act. If you can't name that number, and most people I talk to genuinely cannot, then what you're calling strategy is actually just the same renewal decision dressed up a little bit nicer. It's not wrong to feel that way. It's just worth knowing that there is a difference. And here's what the difference actually costs. Not in theory, but in real months. Every year, someone waits for an unnamed number. They pay another 12 months of rent that builds nothing. No equity, no principal, nothing that shows up on the network statement 5 years from now. And it's not just the money. It's the emotional tax of having the same conversation with yourself every renewal season. Same hesitation, same maybe next year, same envelope on the counter. And honestly, I think that's where the real exhaustion comes from. Not the house hunt, not even the paperwork. It's living inside the decision you keep almost making. So here's the really where this leaves you. 2 paths. Path 1, you renew again. It's the easier signature today. And I mean that with zero judgment. Most people take it because it asks nothing of you right now. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to find out anything uncomfortable. You just sign what you already have in front of you. Now, path 2 looks different. Path 2 means picking up the phone, having someone pull your actual numbers, and finding out for real whether the thing you've been waiting for has already happened without you actually noticing it. Path 1 feels safe today and quietly repeats itself. Path 2 feels a little bit harder for about 20 minutes, and then it's just done. Now, let me tell you what actually happened with the Cary client. 4 years of renewal, 4 years of I'm just not ready there. And when she finally called, it wasn't because rates dropped. They hadn't. In fact, it wasn't because of the home prices got friendlier. No, they hadn't done much of anything there either. It was because her lease was up in 6 weeks and something in her got tired of writing the same sentence to her. So we sat down. Actual income, actual credit, actual reserves, not a guess, not a feeling, a real file. And here's the part that got me. She wasn't unqualified. She hadn't been unqualified for at least 2 years of those 4 years. Nobody had ever just looked and told her that directly. 11 weeks later, she was under contract, not 5 years later. 11 weeks on a payment close to what she was already been paying in rent. That's the part I want you to actually sit with. It wasn't the market that changed her. The market barely moved. What changed was that she finally tested her fear against something real instead of renewing right alongside that lease. Because here's what nobody's telling you about waiting for the right time to buy. There's no alarm that goes off. Rates do not ring a bell. Prices don't send a text. The only way anyone actually finds out the right time is by checking on purpose against the real numbers, not by waiting for the world to announce it. And I think that's the real reframe here. Waiting for numbers only counts as a strategy if you can say the number out loud. If you can't, you're not being patient. You're just renewing. Both are fine choices, honestly. They really are. But only one of them is actually the choice you're going to make on purpose. Here's what it feels like on the other side of that. Once somebody actually checks the numbers, you stop carrying the renewal date around in the back of your head for 11 months out of 12. You stop having the same argument with yourself every spring. You either find out you're closer than you thought, which happens more than people expect, or you find out exactly what needs to change and when, which it has to be changed by. Either answer is better than the other or another year of maybe. So let me leave you with a couple of questions instead of answers. If you had to say the actual number you're waiting for out loud right now, could you? And if the answer to that is no, what are you actually waiting for? Fear doesn't wait for numbers. Strategy does. If you want to find out which one you're actually standing in, you can reach out to me directly at 919-238-4934. My name is Kevin Martini, and there will never be pressure, just a conversation when you call. And if this episode named something you've been feeling but haven't said it out loud, send it to someone who got their own unsigned renewal sitting on the counter right now. And subscribe so you don't miss what's next.